Guruji, Pranam. Hope you're having a pleasant evening.
It's raining.
Anyway, pleasant,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So we can start, whatever.
Okay, Guruji. Today we have with us Shri M. Sir to launch our website YogNirodha and our first guest on the People Tree Show.
Namaskar, good evening. So, am I supposed to talk a little bit? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, when I talk, I usually call it a satsang. It's not a talk in the usual sense of the term. It's more a communication between you and me. So there is this ancient sloka in the Upanishad which is chanted very regularly, but people don't understand what it says. It says, Om Sahana Vavathu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Now what does it mean? It means, may you and I be protected. Protected from what? Protected from distractions, protected from the vagaries of nature, protected from ill health, protected from all the things which we consider negative in life. Not only me, but you, because the key word is saha, which means you and I. Sahanau bhunaktu, may we be nourished well in the proper way, neither overeating nor undereating, nor using substances which are harmful to the body. This may we be nourished is not only physical nourishment but also mind nourishment. May we gather the right knowledge, may we have good character, may we live in this world as unselfishly as possible. It's not fully possible, of course, because we are human beings living in this world. And Sahaviryam karavavahai, let our virya, vitality increase, yours and mine. Ma vidvishavahai, let's not fight with each other. Now this is the basis of a satsanga. Now I'm very happy to know that Stacy Rodriguez is starting this, is running already the online yoga training under the name of YogNirodha Institute. Very good. I wish many more people do this, because I also noticed that during the pandemic I could not travel. Otherwise my travel is like crazy. I'm here one day and there somewhere another day. When the pandemic came, there was no way to go physically. So most of my exposure to the public was through online, YouTube, podcast, online. So because I'm not one who is against technology. I think technology is very important. But technology can be used both positively, constructively, also destructively. So I wish many more people use internet constructively and teach yoga, meditation, things that are likely to improve your life. According to the WHO, health does not mean just physical health. It also means mind health. So yoga contributes to both. Now, since the program is on yoga, YogNirodha is the institute name you have given to the institute. Patanjali, who is considered to be the systemizer of the whole science of yoga into the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, defined yoga as yogas Chitta, vritti, nirodha. Now, Chitta means the mind, but when you say vritti, it means the mind with both its positive and negative thoughts, the mind which is sometimes calm but mostly distracted, a mind which is here, now and there in 1 minute, half a second. So the idea of saying yogas chitta vritti nirodha as a definition for yoga is that if you can somehow balance the mind and move all the distractions away from the mind, tensions, distractions, contradictions, When these are removed, the mind becomes quiet, absolutely quiet. And we practitioners of yoga, believe that a calm mind which is free of the distractions which we call vrittis is very essential for us to go into the higher levels of yoga. Now, what are the higher levels of yoga? As you progress, you realize that you have much more potential than you think you normally have. A human being has absolute infinite potential. But it's not manifested mainly because we are caught up in distractions. We are caught up in contradictions. So if these can be removed. Now this is not just a mental process. It's also how you live on this earth. You can't live a violent life and sit down and meditate for half an hour and say that my mind is free of distractions. Not possible. So a way of life, which is yama niyamas, rules and regulations to be followed by the yogi, which of course includes, like Krishna says in the Gita, this yoga is not for him who eats too much or eats too little, or sleeps too much or sleeps too little. So moderation in every way in your daily life will contribute to the next step. And the next step, of course, is asana, pranayama, and so on and so forth. Now, there is this misunderstanding that asanas are just meant for physical health. Wrong. Yes, they are meant for physical health. Anybody who practices asanas is healthy. I have been practicing asanas from the age of 10. Even today I do. And now I'm 73. I don't think I have, I have grey hair, of course. But otherwise, with the young man sitting in front, we could hold hands and try one of those things. What they do, I'm okay. So I'm proof that yoga works. So now, it's not just physical health. Physical health, it's not a muscle building thing. Yoga is not muscle building, it's not gym. It is something else. It is first relaxing the body. Yoga nidra is relaxing the mind and the body. And this is to be noted, yoga asanas, the different yoga postures, are meant to have an effect on your endocrine system, the ductless glands, starting from the pituitary, which the pineal, and so on, because these are the master glands that control the mind and the body. What happens if there is too much, enough serotonin in the blood circulation? You feel good. What happens if it is less? You don't feel good, even with the best cup of coffee. What if you have more extra dopamine in the system? You hallucinate. You might think it's a spiritual vision, but you hallucinate. So, yoga is a way by which this can be controlled by the yogi, not allowed to run riot. So, the hormones of the endocrine system, through different postures which have a bearing on them, can be controlled, modified, and used according to your need. This is a very important part of yoga. And the third, therefore, through that, connecting with that, is the attainment of a calm peace of mind. The yogis are not superstitious. They believe that calmness is chemical, and yoga is the science of how to bring this about through breathing exercises, through meditation, and so on. Once you learn to meditate and your mind is quiet, it becomes the tarmac from which you can take off to the higher levels of consciousness, spirituality, and so on. That comes later. But this practice of yoga to keep your body and mind fit, to make it calm, to balance the hormones in your system, this is something which needs more exposure, and I am very happy that now you have online systems by which everybody cannot go to a teacher and sit down and learn. So the times have changed, so use internet for the best purpose. If you want to have an example of, let's say, one emotion controlled by the body, by the endocrine system, anger. Have you noticed that anger suddenly comes without our knowledge, and then before you know it, it bursts forth? What are the physical reactions in the body of anger? High blood pressure, more heartbeat, and medical science knows of people who got so angry that immediately had a heart attack. So, you see, so what happens when one gets angry? First, we have to understand theoretically and philosophically that we don't want to get angry. We can do things better without getting angry, because anger destroys our capacity to think logically. In anger, a person can do anything. If he looks back, he would think, why did I do that? Because there is no logic to what I did. It just came. So what happened to this anger? Why does this anger come about? First, theoretically, one needs to understand that one can live without anger. Well, you can pretend to be angry sometimes, but you can actually live without anger. And once you have decided on that, because if you have decided that you will live with anger, I don't want to discuss anything further, live with it. If you want to be free of it first, then there is actually a yogasana which will help you. And that is the Matsyasana. If you regularly do the Matsyasana, of course with the idea that I don't want to get angry, because some people love to be angry, what can you do about that? So the BP will go up, all these chemicals will start flowing in the system, and before you know it, they have a breakdown. But there is still, even when the breakdown happens, they're angry with the breakdown. They want to be free of anger. So that attitude has to be developed first. Once you have developed it, Matsyasana, for instance, helps you to control your anger. Why? Because physiologically, when you get angry, there is a whole lot of adrenaline that flows in your system, into your blood. It is this adrenaline that makes you shiver, get angry, I want to kill him, and so on. So, if there is something which can bring the adrenaline levels down in a controlled manner, Matsyasana is a wonderful asana. But regularly, for 6 months minimum, you have to practice to see any effect, like anything else. Any training, like muscle training, for instance. Now, I think Stacey knows what is Matsyasana. You sit in Padmasana and then you go back. Allow your body to go backwards. Then touch your head to the ground, arch your back, and hold the toes with your hand tightly and pull your elbows down. And this is Matsyasana. Believe me, if one has an anger problem and has decided that I want to be free of it, important, then a regular practice of Matsyasana will help you to control. How? Because this adrenaline is produced in the adrenal glands, which are just in front of the kidneys here, in the front. So when you do Matsyasana, the entire area, the muscles there contract and massage the glands. When this massaging takes place morning and evening, I'm supposing that you will do yoga morning and evening, then every day twice you massage the muscle. Any muscle that is massaged relaxes. Any muscle. So when you relax these muscles, the adrenal glands which are just under it also get a beautiful massage, and your anger chemically does not arise. The reactions that you feel in anger do not arise, but if you are still an angry person, the anger might be there. But then you have to theoretically also think that I don't want anger, I can live without anger. Many things have been done sweetly without anger. You will see the difference in students who go to schools where the teachers are always angry with them. They turn out to be angry citizens. And you will find them among the anti-social elements. It's not their fault, it's the fault of the teachers and the parents because they live in a violent atmosphere. So somewhere along the line, if yoga can help you to bring this down, it's a great practice. Then pranayam. In yoga, we believe that there is a life force called prana flowing in the body. So prana is not the breath, but it is intimately linked to the breath. Breath is shwasa. Prana is the life energy. Prana and breath are connected to each other. If you learn how to manipulate your breath, you can learn how to control your prana for a good purpose, for making your mind calm, to filling you with energy, to pick you up from depression, and to keep you not super excited about things. Because super excitement also causes judgment mistakes. Right? So, pranayam. Now, I don't want to discuss pranayam because you will be doing your course and you will know what the pranayam is all about. This much I can tell you. That there are different kinds of pranayam. Some are meant to increase the flow of prana. Some are meant to calm the movement of prana. What we are seeking for is a balance between the two. A quietness of mind. Now, we said that from the healthy body you get a healthy mind. The reverse is also true. If you have a healthy mind, you generally get a healthy body. Because the brain is that which influences your entire system. If you consider your body as a tree, the root is here. It's an upside down tree. Normally the roots are down. Here the root is here. So from here all controls. Do you know that even before you think, half a minute before you think, the brain has already thought about it. And then it's translated into our mind. So, how to control this, how to manipulate this, how to become a better human being is what yoga is all about. And as you practice and go further, it takes you slowly into the spiritual portal. That is for one to choose, whether you want to go higher spiritually or you're just happy with a quiet mind and a good body. So this is what I wanted to tell you, nothing more than this. So if you have any questions on this, please do ask me. We have another few minutes too.
Now, yoga is often understood as practice of asana by many. Can you explain the meaning of yoga? Because the Bhagavad Gita also addresses every chapter as yoga.
Right. Yoga is not, it's very clear that yoga is not just asanas. As you said, the Bhagavad Gita considers each chapter as yoga. So what could yoga mean? Yoga is a way of life. It's not just a practice. It's a way of life. How to get optimum energy and optimum way of life with your body which looks limited. Which means there is unlimited potential in what looks so limited. And how to expand this potential and take it to the highest level possible, this is yoga. It could be in work, karma yoga. It could be in understanding, intelligence, which is jnana yoga. It could be spiritual, raja yoga. It could be devotion and compassion of your heart, bhakti yoga. So, yoga is a very big term. It's not just the practice of asanas. Yoga is that which takes you from the ordinary to the extraordinary. This is the potential of yoga. Although it begins first with physical, it leaves behind and goes further up to higher levels of consciousness. This is my understanding of yoga.
Is, according to you, how does yoga and Ayurveda help us live a better life?
Now, the one problem is that Ayurveda, what is Ayurveda? The word Ayurveda means science of life, not medicine. Ayu is life, Veda is the study of life. So Ayurveda actually is the study of life and how, so therefore, unfortunately today Ayurveda has also sometimes become like picking up medicines from the shelf. This is not Ayurveda. If you really want the Ayurvedic method to succeed, because Ayurveda goes to the roots, it doesn't treat the symptoms. You can easily get rid of symptoms through medicines. But Ayurveda goes to the roots, so it takes time. Ayurveda is not so useful in quickly bringing about acute changes in the human system, but if you go to the roots and if you give enough time, it can take out the roots of the reason why you are suffering from a disease. Now, if you look at any Ayurvedic text, you will see a couple of things. One, they will prescribe a way of life, how to live. It's called dinachara, how to live. You can't say that I will eat all the wrong foods, I will do what I want, I will not sleep at night, I will sleep during the day, and then I will eat these Ayurvedic medicines and be free. It doesn't work. This is not Ayurveda. Ayurveda is dinachara, how you lead your life. Actually, asana is part of the dinachara for a person who is doing Ayurveda. What postures you can use to bring about a change. If you go to a traditional Ayurvedic physician, they may give you a medicine, but they will say, while you eat this medicine, don't take this kind of food. Like there are some Ayurvedic medicines which when you are eating, you cannot eat salt, for instance, or till the course is over. So it's not a system where you can say, oh, I know what medicine, so let me buy some Chyawanprash from the store and eat it every day. It doesn't work that way. Ayurveda needs constant care, attention, and a knowledge of why you are doing this. And your way of life is very connected to the Ayurvedic system. In fact, if you follow the dinachara, even with a minimum number of drugs, you can get well. This is the connection between yoga and Ayurveda. In a way, Ayurveda is a form of yoga, I would say.
We as individuals are so caught up in the material pleasure of life. How should one bring him or herself to understand that all of this is Maya? Not in the metric sense, but in understanding that all of this, in fact, is nothing, is per meaning.
Look, this is not a good start to start saying everything is Maya. It's very easy to say that because somebody else has said it. Right? You don't know. For you it is not Maya, it's very real. Look, I'm sitting here and talking to you. I drink some water. I see something enjoyable. I see an apple and I want to eat it. You can't call it Maya. Somewhere along the line, this word Maya has been overstretched. And yoga is more to do with Sankhya than with Vedanta. So, Sankhya does not believe that there is any Maya. Yeah, why is it called Maya, the term used? Because this is here today and gone tomorrow. True. But while it is here, it is not Maya. When it is gone, because of its impermanency, it is called Maya. But Maya is even not the right word. I would say Asat. Sat and Asat. Difference between Sat and Asat. So it is called Asat because it is not real in the sense that it is not permanent. But while it exists, it is very real. A yogi eats proper food. He doesn't say eating food is Maya and gives up eating food. You see this? It's a very practical system where the body... Now, if everything is Maya, why would you perfect the body? Why would you deal with the mind? Mind is also Maya, but that is not what we see every day. You may say the mind is Maya, but the mind is very real. It's a mind that dictates how you live, how you carry on. So you should learn how to... When you have done that, when, like Patanjali says, all the vrittis of the mind have been removed and the mind is absolutely... Then you can say, oh, the rest of the world is not so real. Not before that. If that is so, it's only theoretical. You've not experienced it. What do we experience? Reality. So while dealing with reality, while making the mind quiet through sadhana, one reaches the place where one can see this, that everything is impermanent. I wouldn't even say it's an illusion. Impermanent. Vairagya and Viveka and Vairagya are two words used. Viveka means to separate that which is permanent from that which is impermanent. Somewhere it's been wrongly translated as real and unreal. Permanent and impermanent. And to move towards that which is permanent and not impermanent, one needs vairagya, which means what? The capacity to control the mind from getting lost in it. Right? This is how you should look at. Please don't start your chapter by saying the world is an illusion. Then we don't have to teach yoga, we have to do nothing, we have to just sit here. The world is an illusion, what do I do? Right? Okay.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. In the same context, how do we understand time? Because in your lectures on YouTube, you shared your guru Maheshwarnath Babaji. He told you always remember while eating food that you are not eating food, but it is time that is eating you.
Which is a fact. Time is, look, the thing about time is you cannot go back. Yeah. So people come to me and say we did many things, very wrong things. Perhaps we don't even know we did. Maybe in our past work we did many wrong things. Now we are suffering the effect, the phala of that karma which we did. So what I want to say is the crux of the karmic theory is that there is an effect for every cause. No question. Right. Now, you cannot go back and tinker with what you did before. How? You cannot do it. But you can do something now so that your future doesn't become as it is now. So the crux of the karma theory is how you handle the situation you have right now before you. If you do that, if effect is because of a cause, what you have right now, if you handle it properly, the effect will be good for you. Okay, now in the ultimate sense of the term, of course, time is very relative. In the higher stages of samadhi or meditation, I think time does not exist. There is no past, there is only the present. Now, as far as the relativity of time is concerned, you will read in the Puranas, Brahma opens his eyes and the whole universe is created. It's an allegory, of course. Then he shuts his eyes, Pralaya comes and the whole universe is gone. So, for Brahma or a creature of that order, higher being, this whole coming and going of the world is only in one Shana, which means in 1 second. But for us, it looks like a long life. So, how do we understand this? Okay, a mosquito lives for 4 days maximum, maybe 3 days, I don't know, 2 days, 3 days. So we think, oh, it has a very short life. Not for the mosquito, believe me. For the mosquito, what we call 2 days is an entire life. He might think it's a long life. It's to be born, to grow up, to reproduce, to suck our blood, and then finally to die. It's a long life. But when we look at it, we say it's 2 days. So how relative is time? Now I'm talking to you. If it becomes too boring, you look at the watch, oh God, it's going on for so long. Suppose it is interesting, when it is over, you say, oh, it's over, is it? So which is time? Watch time is, of course, there is standardization of time, but time is very, very relative. It depends on the mind. And a mind which is transformed doesn't think of time in the sense that we normally think. It sees past and future in the present. So therefore, in such a mind, sometimes glimpses of the future are seen. Because future, after all, is a projection of the present based on the past. The present is the turning point in this. Right? So when you touch that, see, anything, if I have a piece of stick, I know the middle, but I don't know where it starts or where it ends. If I say it starts here, it is here. If I say it starts here, it is here. But the middle I know. So, think of time that way. So when Babaji said time is eating you, it means you cannot go back. So whatever you have to do, do it now. That will decide what you're going to experience in future.
Right. Uh, with respect to the same karma, does collective karma have its effect?
I think collective karma does have an effect, but individual karma is more important than any form of collective karma. Because we have seen people, individuals living in this system which has a collective karma, rise above it. How is this possible? Because their individual karmas, they have learned how to handle it. And they have touched something because of which no karmic effect can touch them. So while there is something called a collective karma, I think we shouldn't bother too much about it. We should bother about our individual karma. What is collective karma? You and I put together is collective, right? So if I change, you change. I can't expect collective karma to change. If I change, you change, others change, then the collective karma also changes. So it has to start with the individual. I have to change. And sometimes there are powerful individuals who cause collective karma. Need not even be a saint. Look at Hitler. One man. He ruled the minds of so many people. Destructively, of course. Finally, it ended up in destruction. So, which means the individual is very important. The change should come in the individual. Then it will be reflected in the collective. Because a collective is a coming together of individuals. There is no other collective.
Very true. Now, we had this whole discussion regarding the anger. So, my next question is also related to that. According to Bhagavad Gita, a yogi is one who remains calm in every situation. For an individual following spiritual path, keeping above the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in mind, is it wrong to experience the feeling of anger when he or she observed something wrong happening?
It's not wrong or right, but it is detrimental to the calmness of your mind, and usually anger ends up in disaster rather than anything constructive. It's not a moral stand. It's a very physiological and practical stand. First, we should understand that anger is of no use. I was just now discussing about this, that we should understand that anger is of no use. Then you can handle anger. Right? First, you should understand that, in anger, as the Gita itself says, when you're angry, you lose your memory. And constant loss of memory is kind of madness. Right? When somebody begins to lose memory, you say this person is getting senile because he has lost his memory. So, but constant anger will make you senile. It will make your mind totally senile. So, and the action that you do and your judgment in doing that action will be affected by your anger. So, try and keep your anger first under control, second try to get rid of it. It is of no use. Instead of anger, you can say, I am going to put all my energies in doing something, not when I am angry. When you learn self-defense, any of the arts of self-defense, from karate to kalaripayat, the first thing you're taught is when you're angry, don't pick up your weapon. Why? Because your judgment will be wrong. The weapon may be used against you. Have a calm mind, quiet mind. So if in unarmed combat, anger it becomes a disruption, what about daily life which we lead? Wouldn't it be a disruption? Wouldn't it be negative for us to be angry, apart from the physiological characteristics? So, first thing is to understand that you can live without anger. And then try to tackle it.
Right, very true. Now, for the little time that we have in hand, speaking a little about Lord Krishna will not make sense because understanding Lord Krishna is like measuring the depths of ocean. Yet, I want you to explain the relationship of Gopis with Lord Krishna because this relationship is often misunderstood by those who know nothing or little about him.
Okay, let me tell you this. If you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's gopis and Vrindavan are described. There are many more cantos before you should go there. People usually go straight to Vrindavan and say Krishna. Remember that when Krishna is in Vrindavan with the gopis, he is only 12 years old. It's not a demonstration of free sex, please. He is only 12 years old. It's an affection which he develops because of his attraction to these milkmaids. And it is a completely unselfish love. It's a love that happens without any reason or without any logic to it. Krishna plays his flute on a full moon night and the gopis go away from home. They even forgot whether they are wearing clothes. So, do not misunderstand this as free sex. This, at age of 12 and bigger gopis who are 20 years old and 18 years old, what is the connection? The connection is out of the heart. It's been completely misunderstood because we can think only of these things. We need to think of higher things. So when a yogi worships Krishna as the Supreme Being, he also in a way is loving that Krishna like a gopi. But that has nothing to do with anything gross or material or sensuous. For instance, all our traditional dances and music and everything that we have in this country, it projects the spiritual in a sensuous way. But the aim is spiritual, not sensual. This is what we need to keep in mind. Always. Otherwise it will become a free-for-all. Now, Krishna went to Vrindavan. Wait a minute. Krishna did many other things. Okay, I want to be like Krishna. Yes, can you be with 18,000 gopis at the same time? If you cannot, don't try to act like Krishna. Get what I'm trying to say?
Very true.
So I think we need to wind up now.
Okay.
So
Thank you for your
thank you very much, and I again congratulate you. And my good thoughts are with you. Please go ahead with your Yoga Nirodha Institute and benefit as many people as you can. Namaskar.
Namaskar.